is no perfect victim. Because if abuse is working the way that it's intended to, a victim is going to be loud, erratic, angry. If abuse is working the way that it's supposed to, your abuser's friends are going to think that you're the abuser. If abuse is working the way that it's supposed to, you will blame yourself for the way that he reacted. You will convince yourself that you're responsible. So when are we going to start to understand that if abuse is working the way that it's supposed to, that it looks exactly the way it's supposed to for the abuser? Because switching the role of abuser and victim is the game. I think we've somehow forgotten that people are allowed to be angry. People are allowed to react. People are allowed to sometimes raise their voice, even if it's not how they wish that they responded. But since when has a victim not been allowed to be angry for being abused? Since when can a victim not argue back with the person who's abusing them because it's unfair? And I'm not saying that you should, but I'm saying that it's understandable. And when did we stop having understanding for people who are getting harmed to be angry about being harmed? Are we expecting victims to be a perfect example of abuse when the perfect example of abuse is messy? The perfect example of a traditional victim is one who is made into an abuser. Not because they are, but because that's the game. They are the example of abuse. That is what abuse looks like. Looking back, I would give anything to have reacted differently. I would have given everything to have not raised my voice, to have spoken with more clarity, to have looked less erratic to the people I was asking for help from. But the very nature of abuse is to dysregulate you. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If psychological abuse is at play, you have to understand that your first perception is not always the correct perception.